Hi, I'm Jake Willig here for the Men of the Mount, and today we are on top of Mount Carmel. And as you can see behind me, there's a statue of the prophet Elijah wielding his sword. And what we remember here on top of Mount Carmel is a story of King Ahab and his wife Jezebel. And he and his kingdom had begun to follow the false god of Baal. And along with them there were 450 of the prophets of Baal. Now Elijah came and he was trying to reestablish devotion to the true God. And so it ended up then there was a showdown. And so the contest was they were each going to offer a sacrifice. So the priests, or prophets as you might say, of Baal prayed over their sacrifice first, which was a bull. And they prayed and tried to call down Baal to set the offering on fire, to offer it to Baal. So they prayed, and it didn't work. So Elijah then, of course, encouraged them, maybe even taunted them in some sense, saying, oh, he might be busy, you have to call louder. So the priests began, calling out and even cutting themselves and all this to call down fire from their God, to set the sacrifice on fire. But to no use. Now Elijah, trusting in the true God of the time, had men pour 4 buckets of water on top of his sacrifice of a bull, and then he prayed to the Almighty God, and of course, his sacrifice was offered right away. And then at the end of the story, because of that, he put the prophets of Baal to death. So that's why he's wielding the sword here. Now, in our own lives, how is this relevant? Well, it just shows how we need a devotion to the true God and to be men of faith like Elijah. We had 450 men. Can be an example of our culture today sometimes. Or what sinful things in us, what becomes false gods within us. What do we need to cast out of our own life? What draws us to sin and away from God, and how can we cast that out with great courage and strength on the true God? So like Elijah, hopefully today we could learn to trust in the true God more and not be afraid to cast out anything, and when we see evil, to call it evil in our own lives, to cast it out and trust in the true God. So thanks for tuning in to another session with the Men in the Mount.